Oops.
LiftHeavyRunLong.com, on Twitter and Instagram at LiftRunLong. Also, feel free to email me directly at the address wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you're not a member of our Facebook group, you should be, because we want you to be there. Search for Lift Heavy Run Long Community and request to join right now. My name is Wilson Horrell. I am one of your hosts. I'd like to remind you that the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast is not censored, so listen at your own risk. I'm missing my counterpart. I'm missing me lady. Amanda is off doing good things at the church of which we are a part of, so she has better, higher, more moral obligations than this.
She has a higher calling.
She has
than
a
the
higher
LHRL
calling.
podcast.
Even above this bunch of trash, she was able to find
like,
something better to do.
I have so many more important things to do than this.
At least one of us is going to heaven.
And I have sitting is right, cattywampus to me is the Reverend Von Rawl.
Here I am.
Looking good, looking tan.
I might be looking tan.
We're going to be talking
I
about that.
I agree with that.
Because you have I saw where you have a new motorized vehicle.
Yeah.
We're
Yes.
going to get there.
We
Big
will.
thirsty Brian Swanson.
What's up?
Kicked up, got the shoes off, feet up.
I was
on
wearing
the-
flip-flops, so I hope it's okay that I just kicked off flip-flops to put my feet up.
Perfectly fine.
Well,
we need this floor Swiffered a little bit.
I
Probably more help.
I have my brand new UFAs on.
How
so,
are those?
So they're great, and there's a story behind that too. If you want to come back to that,
We could talk about.
I don't know if I told y'all that story.
I've gotten through everything that I compulsively need to
Okay.
get to before I can relax.
Okay.
So thank you.
So, you want to tell you now?
Yeah.
So, I not tell you the stolen UFA story? Want to make sure.
Oh, I think I did
saw,
see that.
I saw it on Facebook or Twitter, but didn't hear the
But
story.
I didn't tell it on the podcast.
No.
did I?
No.
So we were in Fort Walton Beach on a family vacation. UFAs, this is just black UFAs, And I had my UFAs that I wear all the time. I love them so much. I wear them like house shoes. Like I get up in the morning and put my feet in the UFAs. And do you say it UFAs or UFOs or
Oofa,
do
I
you
think
know
is good.
UFAs? So we go to the beach. You know how you go down to the beach and we're at the resort and we walk down the thing, go down the stairs, get to the beach, take your shoes off, and walk down to wherever you're spending the day. And then go back. When you come back up to the resort, you put your flip-flops back on and go back to the room or whatever. I don't know if that's how everybody does it, but that's how we do it. My daughter
I
leaves,
can't think of a different way.
my daughter leaves her shoes. My wife leaves her shoes. I left my shoes. One day, we come back, and my shoes are not there.
Sure.
Everybody else's are, but yours are not.
My UFAs are gone. Okay. And so I'm like, that's weird. And so we go back to the pool or whatever we're doing, and I'm like, they're really bugging me about these shoes are not there. Did I wear them down here, or did I leave them in the thing? I'm starting to do this thing in my head where it's like, did I leave them by the pool, or did I even have them down here to begin with, or what? And so we are on the beach all day and back and forth between the pool and the beach and all this stuff, and it's time to go to dinner. And I'm just eating up about these UFAs are gone. And so we go up, and when you go up the stairs is a bar to the right from where we're staying. And there's a bar and people sitting around the bar. And I walk past, and this guy's sitting there with these UFAs.
Oh, damn it. I knew you were going to say you saw somebody with those UFAs.
The UFAs are in the floor under his stool.
Oh.
And it can't, caveat, I have been drinking.
Uh-huh.
Right. And so I can't.
Confidence is up.
Confidence is super high.
Right.
So I'm like, I glanced in the corner of my eye, and you know an UFO when you know the sandal, like that's a pair of UFOs there. And I walk and I walk and I walk and I like 10 feet, and I'm like, I can't. I gotta go at least confront this guy and ask, because you don't see people wear these shoes very often, right? Like, how many people have you seen outside of your, comfort zone, your friend zone, like wearing a pair of $60
I don't know. You're
flip-flops?
talking about beach area. Wouldn't there be a bigger? Wouldn't that be where UFOs were more popular?
And I have to
than
assume
anything
that they're
else?
selling enough of them to stay in business, and so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
probably
Maybe so.
I don't
outside
think
of
it's
just
that
your friend group.
Now that being said,
But I've never. Let me.
I want you to know,
though.
if you walked up and you hit him in the nose, I support you
No,
on
no,
that.
I did not do that.
But
So, I've never seen anyone else with a pair of UFOs. If that makes sense. I've never been at the beach and gone, and I'm the kind of person that notices those things. Well, that dude's wearing a pair of UFOs. So I go over there and I said, "Hey, man,
oh wow,
I've lost my sandals, and I'm wondering if I left them here
on your feet."
earlier at the bar." No, they weren't on his feet. They were just sitting on the ground, and he was just sitting there barefoot. And I said, "Hey, I don't know if I may have left these here earlier. Just want to check." And he goes, "Those are my sandals. I would kill a motherfucker for those sandals." And I said,
Whether they're mine or not, they're yours now.
No. Wait, there's more. So I go, okay. No, he said something to make me think. He said something like, "Those are my UFOs now." like
they
don't because I told him I left them up on the thing. Anyway, I gave up and I turned around and I walked back to my son's there, my daughter's there, my wife's there, and all of our friends. We're all walking, and I walk probably 50 yards, and I couldn't let it go. I was like, "What did he say? Did he just say? Did he just tell me he took my shoes and I can't do anything about it, or like, am I?" So I turned around and went back. Like I was like, I can't let this go. Like, did he just threaten me, or did he just say, "You're trying to take my UFOs and I will kick your ass if you try to take mine," or something like that? So I went back. I went back to the guy and I said, "Hey, man, I don't think he didn't speak English very well. He was like from somewhere. He was a very broken accent, and I was trying to like listen to what he was saying, and I was like, I don't think I understood exactly what you just said to me. So could you explain to me again what you just said?" And he goes, "Those are my UFOs. I fucking love my UFOs, and I will beat your ass if you try to take them from me." And I was like, I understand. And I gave him a fist bump and I walked off.
Wow.
And so I don't know still if the guy took my shoes, which were exactly like my UFOs, or not. But
What a weird.
Yeah. In my mind, I go, well, do I go further with this? And my son's standing there. I'm like, you know what I mean? Everyone is, why am I'm not going to get in a fight with this guy. And so I just left and lost my UFOs.
Oh, man.
And I let it go.
That makes me uncomfortable.
Wilson, how long would it have taken us to get down there to back up Vaughn to beat this guy's ass?
That would have
to get
been
his
just
UFOs back?
that makes my stomach turn from jump. I just don't know
how
I would have handled that.
He said, "You fucked up by leaving them down at the thing."
Oh, shit.
And I was like,
"Oh, did he really?"
I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess you're right. I did fuck up." And
that's not a fuck up. That's
like
the
he
way
said
things
that. Like
go.
he said that. Like,
because you told him like you had left him down
yeah,
there.
yeah. I said I left them, and I should.
My assumption would be those were in fact his UFOs.
Right.
It's very questionable.
Either way,
the guy's saying, "I love mine so much. You're an idiot if you left yours sitting at the side of the beach."
He could be saying that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we'll never know at this point, but
yeah.
But just to be on the safe side, I'm still going to pretend like I'm walking away and then break this bottle over your head.
Well, I thought about the
and just see how the rest shakes out from there.
If I'd have
Kid
been,
watching and all.
Yeah, if I'd have been smarter about it, I would have just walked over there and gone, "Oh, excuse me, man, I left my sandals here earlier," and just grabbed them and walked off. And seen what would have happened.
I think you handled it about as good as you can handle that. I mean, you need to be assertive enough to approach somebody when you think they stole your stuff. But in fact, he was in possession of them. So I mean, you can't rightfully just go and beat them off of him. Although that would, I'm sure, would never be your plan of attack
No,
in the first place. Not. But I think it went about as other than, man, that sucks that he was so rude. There wasn't a whole lot you could do from there. That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I don't know that I would have ever approached him, even as assertive or even, as some might say, aggressive as I can be, because my first thought would be, this will go immediately to, because if it
breaking bottles.
if it goes anywhere like what you're describing, it would have probably gone all the way.
Yeah,
and so my first thought would have been like, I would have just held a resentment towards him for the rest of my life.
I think.
Which is healthy.
I would have had trouble practicing the pause in that moment. In that moment, and not like cussing him up and down and calling somebody over or making a scene in some way. Like, I think you handled it the best way possible.
Well, my friend,
in the grand scheme, like, and I don't know anything about the sandals. I don't know how expensive they are, but it wouldn't have been worth a physical altercation.
No,
right. Well, my friend Ryan said, one of my neighbors, he said he also likes the OOFAs, and he said, well, I mean, what would you have said if somebody came up to you and said, hey, man, are those your OOFAs? You probably would have said, yeah, those are my OOFAs, and I'll probably kick your ass if you try to take them from me. That's how much you like these shoes, These are awesome flip-flops. Like, it's not just a regular pair of flip-flops.
Yeah, but
and
this
I was
guy's...
like, yeah, he's probably right. I walked up to him and go, I think those are my flip-flops. And he's like, oh, man, I'm going to whip your ass if you try to.
That's crazy to me. That is so crazy. I don't know what I would have done. I am certainly not saying I would have whooped that brother. You ever heard that joke about those two guys driving through Marshall County?
I have not.
And the sheriff pulls them over.
No.
And the sheriff walks up to the driver's side and he says, roll down your window. The guy rolls down his window and he takes out his club and he says, whack, whack, whack. And he hits him upside the head. He says, damn, man, what are you doing? He said, nobody speeds through my county. He said, whack, whack, whack. And he hit him again. He goes, damn, man, okay, I heard you. Calm down. The sheriff calmly walks over to the driver's side and he says, roll down your window. And the passenger rolls down his window and he says, whack, whack, whack. And he said, dude, what are you doing, man? I'm the passenger here. He said, I'm making your wishes come true. He said, what do you mean? He goes, when you would have got 10 miles down the road, you would have said, I wish that son of a bitch would have hit me with that club. The fact of the matter is, very few people will go to an altercation when it comes to something like that. And that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
That one, was there a side of you that thought, like, when do I spring? Like, when do I throw this punch now? Or
no, I'm not gonna spring. Like, I'm not that. I am not. I've never been in a fight in my life.
Yeah.
Never thrown a punch. Never received a punch.
Yeah.
I am not. That is so outside of who I am.
Uh-huh.
And so that was never gonna happen.
And the world is better because of it.
On top of the fact that, like, I felt like my family's watching, and I'm
for sure.
Like, okay, I'm watching my dad go over here to this guy,
right,
and go, okay, I'm pretty sure that guy's got, like, I'm 85% sure those were my flip-flops.
You think so?
Like, you just don't. Brian said, people buy them all the time, but I've never seen anyone at a resort. And I look at these things, like, I know if you got Nikes, Jordans, like, who's wearing what. I will, if someone's wearing a pair of OOFAs, I will notice, because I might go over and say, hey, you a runner or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, even though I'd been drinking, I caught it like out of the corner of my eye. Those are my flip-flops over there. My gut, I'm pretty good about that. My gut is usually right. Like, those are my shoes. I gotta go at least ask. And then he threatened me.
Do you think he was a runner?
He didn't look like a runner.
Soccer player. He played
Probably
football.
maybe soccer, because it was broken English.
So
it wasn't.
what you do with this pair is you put some inconspicuous mark
Yes.
somewhere in them.
Yes, well, we've
And so
already
it'd be like, hey, so on my pair, there's a green dot on the inside of the tongue, blah, blah, blah.
and then we're gonna fight.
Right. Right.
You know.
So I was going to say, so
But
what does that do in that situation?
Yeah, so I got the impression from the guy, like, it doesn't matter what you say right now.
Correct.
We are either going to fight or you're going to leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know.
Strange. People are strange, man. Speaking of footwear, I've got something that I've been wanting to talk about. Amanda thinks it's stupid, naturally, because she thinks everything.
Probably something to do with Crocs.
It's a great idea. It's called Ultra Socks, Ultra Feet. I haven't decided what we're going to name it, but hear me out. There should be some sort of sock or footwear that is basically made of sandpaper that makes your feet like blister and chafe and heal. And that way, when you run these long distances, you don't get those blisters. That way, you can get like really tough feet without having to put in the effort.
Oh.
I think there's something to be said for that. I do indeed.
You mean to prepare you for running long
Yeah,
races, or
right.
you just want tough feet? In
No,
general?
if you want tough feet to run a long race that you're not going to train for.
We'll just sell a kit.
Yeah,
And
I
the kit,
was going to say
no,
a kit.
so here's the kit. The kit is, you soak your feet for like an hour, just in water.
Uh-huh.
So you get you sell them a bucket, and then you've got like, you're just gonna like lay out some glass and you're just gonna walk across that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then there's another bucket that you're gonna put like alcohol or something into, and you're gonna step into that, and you just do that like once a day for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Well,
and
That's the idea.
And then there's a pair of pliers in there where you can just rip off a toenail.
Yeah.
Just grab a hold of a toenail and rip it off.
a nipple grinder.
Yeah, and make your nipples bleed.
Yeah, these things all make sense to me.
I
think that just
It would
selling them as socks would be the idea. People will buy whatever pertains to making a ultra marathon.
how do I be an ultra
easier.
marathoner without the training?
That
I've
works.
got the socks.
Who wouldn't buy that? You'd be foolish not to buy some socks made of sandpaper if you knew that it was going to make your ultra marathon that much less insufferable.
I tell you here and now,
It's a great idea. I'm not going to
I
hear anything
believe
else.
if you sold it as a gimmick gag item, you'd still sell
You would.
10,000 pairs.
It's like
of
one
them.
of the meme of the starter pack meme, like ultra marathon starter pack, sandpaper socks, pair of pliers to rip your toenails off,
right.
razor blades to cut your legs with.
That's right.
What else would there be?
That's what you need. You need
Fireball, I guess. I don't know. Like whiskey.
That's
yeah.
right.
It's an idea.
You could sell a ton of them.
Yeah. Don't go taking it from me when I wake up tomorrow and you've already got your store put up.
Big
with
Thirsty,
sandpaper,
Big Thirsty
Enterprise.
Enterprises.com.
Big Thirsty sand socks on sale now.
Big Thirsty Ultra Marathon Starter Pack.
Big Thirsty sand socks. Goes pretty well.
Sand socks.
So, you had an issue with your elbow.
I did.
How is your
Do.
elbow? You do have an issue with your
Yeah,
elbow.
it's starting to hurt again now.
Starting to hurt
so
again.
I'm about, let's call it 10 days out of the cortisone shot. Maybe not even that far, but it's starting to ache again.
Did the cortisone take it away like that?
I was sore for about 12 hours after the shot, and then like I could have done handstand push-ups
Yeah.
if I was physically capable of handstand
Yeah.
push-ups. I could
Yeah,
have done.
yeah.
My elbow could have handled
Oh, yeah.
handstand push-ups.
Yeah. I've
Walked out of there prepared to do muscle ups.
The one cortisone shot I ever got was after the 7 minutes of burpees, and whatever open that was the first time it came through. My shoulder hurt. Like it was like the first injury I ever got, and so I went to the doctor, and he's like, I can give you a cortisone shot. It's like some rotator cuff thing or something. I don't know. And he goes, I can give you a cortisone shot, but it's going to make you feel real good. And you're going to think you can go back to the gym and do your workouts. And I was like, no. I would never do that. I am 100% doctor's orders or whatever. So he gives me the cortisone shot, and it was amazing.
It is.
And I went right back to the gym.
Yes, directly.
Like I did not. There was no. I was like, I'm perfectly fine now.
Yep.
So that's probably what's wrong with my shoulders today.
How's your shoulder?
It's good. I got the MRI results back, and I have a partially torn rotator cuff. He said there's more than 50% tendon left, not torn, and that's
so you can keep working out.
he said, I mean, apparently these things break down over time, and that's plenty to keep rolling. He said that the surgery involved is a 6-month recovery. That it's a lot.
So it needs to tear more before they'll do anything about it.
Before it's worth doing anything.
Wow.
Too, I'd gone. I went to Campbell's clinic. I had my problem. They did the X-ray. They gave me the cortisone shot. Life is good. Everything's feeling good. So good, in fact, like we were just discussing, that you can put another plate on there, and I'm feeling good, feeling as good as I have, and I'm bench pressing, and all of a sudden I just feel these 2 tweaks, like pop, pop, and I'm like, I've really done it this time. So I go back to the doctor, to a different doctor. I told him I need another cortisone shot, and I do an MRI. And, they're only supposed to give those things so often. He's like, we can't give you another cortisone shot. And I was like, we can. We can do one more. Get me through this one.
Come on, coach.
And then we'll
put me back in.
And he's like, now, how long's it been? I was like, 6 weeks, I think. And he's like,
what's the right answer here?
I'll give you,
how long
I'll
does
give
it
you a
need
little.
to have been?
And I was like, you give me one more big cortisone shot, and then the next step will be surgery. Same thing I told him about my knee. And he gave me another one in a different place. He said he thought this was my bicep more than my shoulder. Apparently your bicep attaches way up here too. And he explained that's where the term bicep, like 2 places.
No.
And it turned out to be the rotator cuff, but everything's good, feels good. He just told me not to get too carried away with things. And he was like, he works with the Redbirds and the Grizzlies. And he was like, I tell the athletes not to do any more than they're going to need it for. And I was like, I don't need my shoulders for anything.
But those guys are still making like $250,000 a year sitting on the bench. Like, there's a difference. I mean, not that you're working out.
I'm making $0 a year and not doing. I think the point is, what do you need to be? What's the benefit in benching 350 for you? Like, what are you really going to need to do? Like, just take it easy. And I told him I understood that.
My wife will be impressed, Doc.
I need to. It's all about the numbers, man. What am I going to post on Instagram, dude?
That's
somebody. Yeah.
So.
By the way, we are live.
Yeah, he's already confirmed that.
Katie texted me and said she can see and hear us. So.
Yeah. Melissa Burgess said, yes, we hear you. Graham Murphy says, good day from down under.
Look at there.
So that must be.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're global.
Must be international. William Darby.
Dr. Darby
says, Scott Hollis needs to chime in the legality of this. My feelings are offended that you didn't at least kick sand on him and run like a chicken. I assume he's talking about my sandal story.
I would connect those dots, yes.
Thought about that. Can
just
I
kicking
outrun this
sandals?
guy? I'll just take the sandals and run.
Yeah.
And number one, this is my resort.
Uh-huh.
I got a card to get in the door, so I'll just take the sandals, assuming that guy doesn't have one. Swipe.
Hopefully he's not staying there.
But
too.
he was in your resort.
He was at the bar and at the beach, so I don't know.
So you're seeing this guy at a completely different location.
Ish.
No. It was right outside our resort. It's a bar, but there was a bunch of people at the bar.
Okay.
And
so he could have just wandered up from the beach.
He could have wandered up from the beach, said,
I'm going
to $60 pair of sandals. I'm going to take those and go.
Now that I think about it just a little bit longer, I think the good passive-aggressive response would have been, well, can you tell me what your sandals look like so I can go get those so I have something to wear?
Yeah, I don't have any flip-flops now, So whatever you wore up here, could
Just
you
tell me
give
what
those
your
to me?
tell me what yours look like, so I can go get those from the same spot
Fooled
that
you.
mine were.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, let me tell you something super cool that I did, that Amanda took me to do as a surprise gift. She took me to a sensory deprivation tank.
No way.
Y'all ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wicked, man.
Wow. Where was that at?
It was in Nashville. We just made a day of it.
You floated.
So
Floated.
that's like a saltwater tank,
Yeah.
like total blackout, no sound.
Correct.
I've heard people like you either love it or hate it.
Yeah,
And so, how long were you in?
I loved it. I was in there for an hour, I think was the package.
Holy crap!
Did you pee in there?
I did not, as a matter of
Okay.
fact.
You didn't have to
Not
go to the
not
bathroom
because
at
I
all.
would have a
I don't know
problem
what made
with
me think
that.
of that. Just
I don't know why it's important that you know that I would
I don't know. Like
pee on
I was just thinking
myself.
you were
and
underwater for an hour.
You're not underwater at all.
Oh, okay.
That's
You're
the
just
weird
floating
thing.
in the water.
There's so much salt in there.
It's like the salt
The-
salt sea. Or what's it called?
The Dead Sea.
Dead Sea. Thank you. Yeah, it raises the buoyancy, so you just float.
So you're floating on top of
It's
the water.
almost like, it's really a lot like taking acid in the sense that you can't explain to somebody what that's like. Like,
oh, sure.
it's-
I don't know, but I could imagine.
for one, the water is the same as your body temperature, so there really is no start and stop to where your body ends and where the water begins. And you're so buoyant because of all the salt that it's just like you're existing.
Did you sleep? Did you?
I'm sure, I feel like I fell asleep. I'm not 100% sure. That I kept, like, I would get to a place and then kind of come back into it and think, damn, I wish I had more time because I feel like I'm just getting used to how to do this. And then that same thing would happen again. I'd kind of drift, and then I'd pop up and be like, I think I'm getting, like, better at this.
You know, it's just funny to me. My only like remote correlation. I think I've been doing acupuncture lately,
Okay.
and so I get on the table and like I fall asleep. Like the woman is still sticking needles, sometimes in my face, and I'm totally passing out asleep because like I'm completely relaxed. But like I snore if I lay on my back, and I know you wear a CPAP, so I'm just
Correct.
curious like how that works. Like if you're sleeping like. Because wouldn't you like do the I'm gonna call it snoring, but like the snortle or whatever you want to call it, that kind of would make you wake up if you didn't have the CPAP in?
I don't know. I would think so. I would think, but I don't feel like I did. I could
And
be wrong.
So maybe like either the oxygen level's so high that you're not having an issue, or
I don't
you're
know if
not
it would
fully
ever be able to be possible to sleep the way that you lay in that water.
yeah,
I don't
just
know.
curious. Anyways,
Yeah.
Well, what were your takeaways from it? Did you?
I would highly recommend it. I mean, it's
Why?
because you just get to look at things from a different perspective. I mean, I think anytime you get quiet for any period of time can't be anything but healthy, unless you're really like, focusing on some sort of resentment. But when you're in there in a good state of mind and wanting to come out of there better than you went in, I think it would be hard to find anything.
But what's the
it's
difference?
truly
Like,
zero distractions. I mean, there's
Yeah, but what's the
zero
diff-
light, zero sound.
But what's the difference between that and Wilson coming out here, sitting on the couch, turning all these lights out, and leaving his phone in the house,
I think
and sitting here in the dark for an hour?
I think that the level of comfort would be probably what I would say more than anything. I think that there's a degree of pain that we carry with us at all times, whether we know it or not, because we're so used to having it. And I got this from a very bizarre out there conversation I had with a gentleman who had died, lost pulse for a certain amount of time. Anyway, that's way too radical to get into. But I think that there's something to be said to have that like weightlessness and lack of feel at the same time. I felt like I was perpetually being raised up to where I was about to fall on my face, but I never reached to like an apex. Like I just kept,
That's so cool.
like I just kept going. Like this thing's gonna eventually tip over, but there is no real circle. Anyways.
Has it had any effect on your behavior?
My behavior, I wouldn't know. My mindset, I go back to it. I don't know that, but I go back to a lot of things.
You know, it's funny. Like I think about. I always joke, and it's meant to be funny, but it's also somewhat like true. Like I solve all the world's problems while I'm out on a trail run.
Mm-hmm.
Like because I'm completely just lost in my thoughts, and obviously not solving the world's problems, but I'm solving like random stuff in my own life, having conversations, using logic to work things out, like blah blah blah. Like I think that would just be the exact kind of thing, even more so, the sensory deprivation would put you in that sense where it's like you literally have nothing but your thoughts
Yeah.
to focus on.
And we do take for granted how, what you were saying, Devon, how we're never completely silent, like without phones or without light or without anything. So, I mean, completely being anything is much different than kind of being something. So it's weird. You just have to do it. I
and
think
you also know for this hour, I don't have to worry about anything. No one's going to bother me.
You're as safe as you can possibly be.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking to myself, like, how important is it anyway? Like, in this 1 hour, nothing means anything. That's the goal of it.
Mm-hmm.
But how do I carry that with me out of here? Like, all the things that I worry about, I know in good conscience are total bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But yet I dwell on them night and day. And for whatever reason, when I'm put in an environment like that, it seemed to be easier to shake that.
That's so interesting to me. I want to try that at some point. I've read about it before, but I worry a little bit about claustrophobia. I don't have like any like hardcore issues other than like truly feeling like being trapped in a place or whatever. Like it's not. I don't know. Anyways, that's been my biggest apprehension for ever trying something like that. And
oh, that's a good point. Was it very?
No, it was not. It should be. Typically, they're in like a what I envision to be like a Mork and Mindy, like an egg,
right.
like a pod.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
And this was not. And I think that they just didn't have that. He tried to make it out like it was a different style. I think the style being we can't afford one, so we have this here. But I don't know that I would have known the difference. But somebody that's just got claustrophobia.
So like how far?
Man, I would get freaked out.
If I got to here, I could probably do my arms at about a
45
degree
3 or 4
angle.
feet wide.
But you
that's
you
not
couldn't
bad.
see anything.
Nothing.
Completely.
That's
dark.
not bad.
Completely nothing.
Like my concern would be like coughing with.
No, nothing like that.
You know, like having to maintain like that.
As a matter of fact, I didn't know. I kept wondering if I was spinning like in the clockwise or counterclockwise motion.
Because you have zero point of what's it called?
Point of reference.
Point of reference. Thank you. And like, see, man, that must
As a
be
matter
weird.
of fact,
that must be a weird feeling. Like you have no idea what's going on with your body.
There's a button that's like this big on the wall, like the size of a small pizza. And he said, when the music comes back on, it'll come back on really quietly and slowly get louder. This button is the only thing you need to be concerned with to turn the lights back on. Well, when that music comes on, you're like, where in the hell is that button? Like you really don't know. And there is just the slightest degree of panic, as if I'm going to die in there because I can't find the pizza size button. But you are like, I don't have any idea where that damn button is at this point.
That's interesting.
That just reminded me of when I was in Canada in the hospital, and they put me in this MRI tube, and I couldn't fit into the thing. I don't know if I'm bigger than
You're
normal
just that jacked.
Canadian people or
You're
whatever.
just that jacked.
But like I couldn't go in the tube, and so they took my pillow or whatever the thing was I was resting my head on. They got a smaller one or something and put me in a thing, and I had to do my arms like this so I'd fit into the tube.
That'd have been a hell no to me.
And I was like, it was like worst nightmare scenario. I was like, she was like, just scream if you're uncomfortable. Just let us
scream.
Holler.
I'm gonna scream before you put me into the tube.
If you're uncomfortable, just yell at us or whatever. And I was like this in this tube. It was like, and I was like, I really want this MRI done. I really want this done.
That's how. Yeah.
I really want this done.
Yeah.
I really want this done. I really want this done for like 20 minutes, however long it took. And I was like,
It was probably like 15 seconds.
It was probably like a whole minute, maybe. But to me, it was like a half hour, and I'm in there like suffering.
Yeah.
So that's what I was asking. Like, if it was a small spot, there's no way I could do it.
There's plenty of room. Plenty of room.
Quick topic change. Back to in-person racing.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be doing the road race series. Trading texts with Dawn today. She said Breakaway Running has canceled their marathon training runs.
What?
Because of the resurgence of COVID.
The D series or whatever of.
No. Their training runs. Their free training runs.
No. I'm talking about COVID. There's like a
Delta.
new
The
Delta
variant. Yeah.
D series. Same thing.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't know what you were referring to. But then she just sent me a link, and now the Overton Park 5 Mile Classic's been canceled. But that's also a Breakaway, like, organized event. So it could just be that Breakaway is just kind of consistently. But I'm gonna be sad if like we're going back to like virtual racing.
Oh man,
again.
that would suck.
Yeah.
Disney World Marathon weekend registration opens tomorrow. I'm seriously considering registering for something, but I'm not doing it virtually. Like if I can't do it,
I would not do that. No. I don't think I would do. I wouldn't do the Disney races virtually.
And I told Katie earlier, after having talked to Dawn earlier, like if the road race series goes to virtual, like I'll still show up to every race and run the course.
I'm with
like
you.
I may not may not do it with
500,
1,000 people or whatever would normally show up, but like I'll still go run the course.
Agree.
So
Probably a lot of people will do that, you think?
there'll be a lot of idiots like me that'll get out there and just be like, psh, I'm vaccinated.
Right.
I'm healthy. I'm safe.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I think it's fine. I don't think you're an idiot for that. Like, I don't know. I'm not as scared.
I'm not
as
an
I
idiot
was.
until I get COVID. Yeah.
Well, I've already I had it, so I'm not as terrified.
You haven't had
as
the Delta variant.
Right.
That's right.
Well, yeah.
Delta
I'm
Force is
teasing.
very.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wouldn't. My parents won't get vaccinated. I wish they would. But I'm not worried about myself and my family. Really.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Unless I start thinking about it.
I mean, people with pre-existing conditions. I've got a heart condition or whatever. You get COVID, and that's bad, right?
It is.
If you're older, if you're above a certain age, it's worse. I don't know.
You know what's worse than COVID is the army worms that are
that
are
go
in
Oh
the
my
South.
gosh! I'm so glad you brought this up.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to tell me about this. I saw the email today.
Yeah.
You saw what email?
Wilson sent out an email, I guess, to his customers.
Yep.
About armyworms, and what are the signs that I have armyworms?
Well, something that you can do tonight that's a lot of fun is you can pee in your backyard and wait like 30 seconds, and they'll come out by the dozens.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Or you can take palm olive, like lemon scented palm olive.
What do you mean come out by the dozens? What will you see?
You'll see what look like caterpillars that'll just scamper
I'm doing
out.
that when I go home.
Yeah.
Vaughn just wants to piss in his yard.
Well, when I was drinking and I would go to customers' houses, I would just be in their yard, and they definitely have armyworms. But this year, the way it is now, you have armyworms. Everybody has armyworms. It's just a matter of how many.
So it's not just a fad that people like to post about on Facebook.
No, it's there.
It's a real thing.
The thing about armyworms, they come around every year, but the cycles are bigger in other years than others. This one, I mean, they're literally dead in the street out here from trying to. They just don't know where to go, and they will wipe out. I mean, they can wipe out a field overnight, but they generally don't do any lasting damage. They eat the sheaths, they eat the leaves of the grass, and it'll come back next year. It's unsightly.
Okay.
But I've been to properties where it looks like 10,000 birthday candles in the yard, where all that's left is worms straight up and down on the leaves of grass. And
Wow.
that's in the morning times you'll see them, and then once they get bad enough, you can see them all throughout the day. You don't have to look hard for them. I mean, they're everywhere.
Okay.
But it's not very convenient for us because we have applications, so we have things that we need to be doing, and so generally speaking, they come at a time where we're like kind of in between, so it's beneficial because we can just come spray your yard and only mix our tanks with that stuff. And it's difficult to like have to mix tanks for this and then have to mix tanks for something else when you're as small of a company as we are. So
that makes sense.
they're here. There's a lot of them.
And that's not just like an olive branch.
No, they're all over the Mid-South.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Check it out.
You can call the Gardener Shadow at 901.
That's right.
827.
Nah, I can't remember the number.
14.
So I found Grubhub delivers to our house. You know, which is big news because we live in Byhalia. There's not a lot
you
of
got
people
fiber now, man.
that's
Like
gonna
the
come out
word's
here.
getting out.
I mean, your life has
Byhalia is on the map.
your life has changed.
You got fiber.
On the map.
Just because of fiber. Grubhub's like, well, they got fiber now. We'll deliver.
I've had fiber for 3 days. What's the over and under that you think I've speed tested that thing?
Oh, you?
100 times.
Woo! That's what I do, man. I
Is
just
it
speed.
is it blazing fast?
It's blazing.
It is blazing
It's like-
fast.
It's between 5 and 6 down, and between 6 and 7 up.
6 and 7 what?
100
Megabitsels,
megabits.
like
Yeah, mine goes
70% of a gig.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Megabytes per second.
mine's
That's what
like
it is, isn't it? Right?
Megabits.
I don't know, megabits.
Megabits.
Mine's like 800.
Well, being as how I used to pay premium for the business Comcast super duper internet that was 80 down and 15 up, and now we're talking about 5 to 600 down and
Yeah.
6 to 700 up wirelessly.
So fast.
When you're wired in, you got a gig,
Yeah.
man. I mean, this podcast, what would take me.
You've speed tested it on a wired connection, and you're getting 1,000.
No, I haven't actually.
haven't
I'm just
got-
assuming. I know that
I
it
have
gets that.
tested it.
I know that it gets that to the modem.
I've
So I don't know
I've
what it
tested
gets.
my wired and gotten 700-800.
I was gonna
I
say
mean,
that's
close.
on a gigabit connection. That's
Yeah.
the closest I've ever gotten. It's
Yeah.
about 700 or 800
Which is stupid
on a wired
fast.
connection.
Well, that's I should have said that because I have not in fact actually tested it to Grayson's. Or hell, I'm on a wired connection
I
now.
was gonna say, didn't you?
But it will also make a difference that I am quite a distance from it, right or no?
Oh, you're on wireless or you wired?
No, you're wired.
I'm wired in. Let's see
should
what we
be.
got.
The only thing it's the number of connections. So like you've got a couple limiting factors here. Like your
Well, this ain't good. This ain't doing good at all. We can't even talk about it anymore.
Well,
like,
what I
like
wonder
you're
about
using
is
a USB or Thunderbolt cable, right, to go to Wi-Fi. So then you're limited by the bus on the computer for that, and then you're going through a switch. And is it a 100 megabit switch or is it a gigabit switch?
I don't know. Probably
And-
not much. Yeah.
And so you might be limited
That
there.
switch is going there.
And then so your bandwidth is limited at several points along the way, so it's not going to be the best. But still, it would be interesting to see. I would still think you'd
Yeah.
be, assuming you've got gigabit between here and there, I would still assume that you're going to be, if your Wi-Fi average is over 500, that you'd still be at least at 500 where you're at right now.
Well, they give you these C-Spire at least. Did you get those little gray pods, the plume things?
Wi-Fi access points.
They're like mesh.
Like the mesh?
deal? Yeah.
No, I already had those with Google,
Okay.
so I opted out
Well, I
for
got
that, but I
three.
don't use them.
I got 3 of those things, and I'm not sure. Each one of them has a thing you can hardwire your computer into. So I'm not sure, like, if that's really hardwired, because that thing is wireless to begin with, right?
well, so
Like it's so I don't know.
So the Google Home, the Google Nest, the former Google Home ones, they create a mesh network. So one of them has to be hardwired,
Yes.
and then the other ones can just talk Wi-Fi and extend the range, or you can hardwire those so that they have a stronger signal at the outside points, but then also they have a pass-through. So you can hardwire it and you can feed a computer off of it. So if you've got a computer that or some device that requires a wired connection, then that access point is getting the Wi-Fi from the main access point and can feed a wired connection from it. Does that make sense?
I think so.
It does. However, I derailed on the conversation that I was getting at.
Sorry,
with my no, I did it to myself because
Grubhub.
Wi-Fi fiber is important.
Grubhub.
Fiber is important, and it's a wonderful thing. And I'm a
Grubhub.
better and smarter person because I have it. Grubhub, Marco's Pizza. Do you guys eat Marco's Pizza?
I love it.
Yeah,
Oh my
I've
God!
honestly been meaning to try
My
it.
God,
You should try it.
they've got a pizza bowl. So I don't eat. I'm not eating bread. I haven't since
I
December.
love it. Let's talk about
And
this
so they
bowl.
got a pizza bowl, and they have this sausage bake.
I'm leaning in right now
It's
because you
so,
have my attention.
It's so dense. It's so heavy. It's about it weighs about as much as this.
Okay,
this
so
audio equipment.
So I've had this conversation with my wife because we haven't had a pizza bowl yet.
Oh.
We've had Marco's. We order it when we're at the pool, and they'll bring it to the pool.
Yeah.
So is this like all the toppings of a pizza without the bread, just in a
Correct.
bowl?
Yeah, it's in a bowl. But I told Holly, like yesterday or the day before, I was like, I want to order one of those pizza bowls. She goes, you don't want one of those. They're really small. Like
That's what I thought.
They make it look like it's really big, but it's really nothing.
It is. No, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was so much. If this tells you anything, when I ordered it, I immediately had buyer's remorse because I was concerned that I was still going to be hungry when I ate it. And that's the way that I feel every time I order some food.
Yeah.
However, when
That's
it
true.
got there, Amanda and I both were like, damn, this is heavy.
All right, now we're gonna do.
This
the
is
pizza
heavy.
bowl.
Even compared to Amanda got her little gluten-free pizza, which was like helium. I mean, it weighed less than I was holding it down
Yeah, I
from
was like,
rising.
would you eat
as
this thing so I
opposed
can
to-
stop holding it down?
And then there's a pizza bowl where that may have been when I tore my bicep. It was so heavy
Really?
that I couldn't even. I didn't have the strength to hold it up.
Well, now I'm gonna have to.
So
have
it's
one.
But it could have been the
It's a
extra
it's-
dozen garlic butters that I had.
It's a baked bowl that's got like pizza sauce, cheese,
All
and like
the-
pepperoni
all
and
the
sausage.
Peppers,
all-
all
yeah.
that stuff, but more.
I
It's
think
it's
you
more.
can put whatever you want
It's
to. in it,
probably
right?
that thick. Like instead of it being like a pizza, I mean, just the crap is that thick.
But you can order whatever you want, or you can put.
You can
put
build your
whatever
own, or
toppings
they
you
have
want.
3 different kinds. You can get the
Yeah.
vegetarian, you can get the
K-Max, consider yourself on notice.
yeah.
Well, listen, they have chicken wings too,
Are they good?
and they are fantastic. Get the hot ones; they're good.
Really?
Yeah, I eat them a lot. We're at the pool and they order Marco's. Oh, get me some wings.
Yeah.
I'll just take
Yeah.
2 Prilosec that day.
Yeah, you're gonna need some of that, especially if you do get the garlic butter, which you need to, of
Son of
course.
a-
That's kind of a no-brainer. Y'all garlic butter guys?
Yes.
Y'all
Oh
sauce
my God,
people?
that's a
Yes.
stupid question.
Yeah, it is. It is. I just want.
Just-
well,
you
I mean,
just
just
assume that
seeing as
everyone
how
in
you
this
feel
room-
about ranch, I got
No,
there's
no, no.
some things that I
Garlic
just
butter.
don't have.
Garlic butter.
I don't
is-
fully trust you in some areas.
That's okay. Fair enough. But garlic butter is pretty much. If you don't like garlic butter, something's wrong.
You're a
with you.
dick. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, all sauces are on some level or another gravy, and all the food on my plate is just a way to get the gravy to my mouth.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I only have to eat the other stuff because they won't let me take a spoon to the gravy.
Right. The food is the vehicle for the
Exactly.
gravy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the ponchos dip. You ever just eat that with a spoon instead of the chips? Like, I'm trying to low carb it. I'm just gonna eat the cheese dip out of the bowl.
I meant to text GFO the other day because I was eating bell peppers and dipping them in ponchos, and I know how he understands the nutritional value in that. And it actually gave me diarrhea, and I think it was because my allergy. I'm sensitive to vegetables. Health foods,
Yeah. Well, it's not the ponchos dip because
health food makes me
The poncho-
sick.
the
It upsets
ponchos-
my tummy.
ponchos dip is gluten free. So
It is that.
It wasn't
They
that
market it
they
as
gave
that.
you.
Isn't that great? Isn't
it
that?
is right on the
that-
label.
that
Gluten
some
free.
person was like, "Hey, boss."
We need to go put this on here just in case.
Some copywriter was like,
That's not
"Can
what
we throw
gave, yeah,
gluten
you
free on here?"
diarrhea.
Yeah,
It was the
that'll
chips. It
get
was the-
Mississippi to buy it, and it worked.
Look, it's gluten free.
We don't have very much time at all, but we need to talk about your jet ski.
Yes.
Yeah, how cool is that?
That's freaking awesome.
When did you decide, man, I'm getting a jet ski?
Oh, well, it wasn't me. It was my mother-in-law.
Okay.
Who has the house
She
on the
seems
river
like the jet ski type. She
Well,
seems
no,
like she would get
well,
out on the
so-
river and just tear up.
Well,
Man,
on
you
the
need
river.
a
She
mother-in-law
might,
that wants
yeah.
a jet ski. That's pretty. You're doing all right.
So the house has a boat dock. It's very own boat dock, and she sold her boat a year ago or so. And it's just a boat dock sitting down there with nothing in it. Right on the river. You
Seems
just
like
get
a
out
perfect
and go.
opportunity to buy a jet ski.
And so we've been trying to buy a boat, whatever. Trying to get her to buy a boat, or us buy a boat together, or whatever. And so Holly, my wife, found this Sea-Doo on Facebook Marketplace and sent it to her, and she went and looked at it and was like, I'm going to buy it. And so she bought it. And so that meant I had to go get it and take it to the river and all these things and put it in the water and make sure it works and all that stuff.
At least
And
we
so
know
we
where Jackson's next broken limb's coming from.
Yeah.
He was good, man. He was good. The funny thing is, we took it to the river. I took it up this past weekend, and Jackson brought 2 friends with him.
Oh, very cool.
And Jackson is one of those people who can just do anything. You know what I mean? You have whatever sport it is or whatever the skill is, he's going to figure it out pretty quick. And I just assume everyone's that way.
Mm-hmm.
And Jackson, I just put him on the Sea-Doo. I'm like, okay, take him out there. There's a cove there where it's not a lot of traffic, and so I just let him and his buddies. We just let him and his buddies just take the thing out there. We could see him the whole time. And so he comes back, and they're skiing around or whatever, and he goes, well, one of his buddies wants to try to drive it. And I was like, sure, fine, I'll get on with him and show him how to do it. And so I get on the back with his buddy, and the poor kid can't. I'm treating him like Jackson. I'm just like, well, do this and this and this. You're going to figure it out. And he's just like, we're out there, and he's like, I was like, well, just do this. And he's like, ah. And all of a sudden, we just tump over in the water. And I'm like, ah, okay. I had on my clothes, like I wasn't even
You really?
expecting to be
Oh,
in the
man.
water. But it's okay. I was like, it's okay, man. It's like, we'll try again. He goes, I don't think I should be doing this. And I was
It
like,
sounds like
all
you
right,
had
let's just
my
go.
son Grayson out there with you.
And I was like, okay, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. And Jackson the whole way home was like, he was so scared of you. And I was like, what? Why was he scared of me? He was like,
That's funny.
anyway.
Some people, like, Grayson's one of the most intelligent kids I've ever met. He is. He shocks me in every kind of way.
Right.
Positively.
Yeah.
But the guy cannot drive a vehicle.
Yeah.
He can't drive a vehicle.
Right.
I don't think he's got it in him
Yeah.
to drive a vehicle. And, it doesn't help when I'm like, God damn, you forget the fucking...
Yeah.
But I'm like,
It doesn't-
how much
it
time
does-
do you spend
it
playing
does
video
not
games?
help.
Like,
Yeah.
how much Super Mario
does
Kart
not
did you
help.
Have
play?
you never driven a car in a video
I
game?
do the same thing, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? And Jackson's like, that's why everyone hates you, because you do that. Like, nobody wants, everyone's afraid of you because, you're going to yell and scream at them. And I'm like,
He's
oh.
talking to Amanda about it. He's like, doesn't help that I got Daddy with her
Yeah.
yelling at me.
Exactly. I'm in
I
the
know, I'm
same
terrible.
boat. Yep.
I don't mean this in a bad way at all. I would have never thought anybody thought you as scary or intimidating.
We talked about it the whole way home from the river. I was like, why do you think they're? He's like, both of my friends were scared of you. And I was like, why do you think they're scared?
Dad vibes, man. They're different.
He's like, I don't know, but one of
You
the
almost beat some guy's ass over a pair of sandals.
one kid was here and he dropped a log on my foot, and I was like, "Arr, arr, arr." And Jackson was like, you were like, gosh darn it, Barbara, somebody put it back. And he was like, he's been scared of you ever since. And I was like, what? And then everyone else is scared of you too because blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, I don't know.
It doesn't take much to get scared. I mean, I'm sure you just gave off a...
I don't talk to people,
Right.
which is a downfall.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
people assume that because I'm not
intimidating.
speaking that
Yeah.
I'm mean or something. Like I told my wife, I'm just going to start going. When I walk up to people, I go, Brian Swanson, you son of a bitch. How are you doing? Man, I hadn't seen you in forever. What's your day
Did
been
you
like
hear
today?
the one about the 2 guys walked in?
Like, I'm just going to start telling jokes and be like
Yeah.
over the top, emotional.
I wonder how long it'll take for you to go into like a psychotic state from being so extroverted.
I would be like in a float tank.
That's right.
Like, put me in a tank fast.
Holly, buy me one of those sensory deprivation tanks. I need to decompress.
You'd be sentenced to a float tank. That would be your penalty. All right, we're out of time. We're at 2 hours.
Good time. 2 hours?
No.
What?
Yeah,
That's not right.
The thing says 1 hour. It starts at 1 hour. I don't know what's up with that part of it.
Okay.
There's so many things about this that I just don't understand.
Okay.
And I get it to a place where it's kind of working, and then it works like that, so I just keep it going like that.
Well,
But I've got a list of stuff that I wanted to talk about, and we don't have time to talk about it.
Well, next time.
I've seen Todd Hinton at the last 2 races.
Fit
talked to
39.
Yeah, talked to him, and I don't know if I made this connection when he was here on the podcast, but he grew up with Carol.
Yeah.
Oh, did he really?
He knows Carol's family.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did know
was there
that.
for that conversation.
I don't know if we talked about it here. I didn't remember.
No,
it.
I didn't know that.
I don't think we
then,
did because when you brought it up, I was like,
didn't know
wow,
that.
that's weird.
I don't know if he's just started interacting more on Facebook, but it was one of those things that like so and so liked your post, and I was like, okay, I'm friends with him, but I don't recognize the name just off, and so like I click on his profile and like I start digging, and I was like, well, crap, he went to all the same schools that Carol did at the time Carol was there, and so I asked him when I saw him at the first race, and he's like, yeah, he's like, he was like, you just never knew whether it was Carol or her brother Joe that was gonna, come beat you up one day, as kids in the neighborhood or something like that. It's like that, and that totally sounds like Carol. So
he's good people. Has a lot of good things going on with his garage gym out there. And
I've really been enjoying his little videos and stuff.
He got into the videos. We had good conversation about that, and Max and what he likes to use, what I like to use.
Yeah.
And, so he's really good at editing and producing those videos, and he really enjoys it. So it looks like that's growing and doing well. So he's just a good guy all the way around.
Anyway, it's just been good to see him at the races, and he's doing the series, so should see him over the next couple of months pretty consistently.
Awesome.
It's good talking to him.
Lift heavy, run long. Number 210 is in the book.
210.
Boom.